everyone, ciao a tutti. I am Claire from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm happy to be part of this global Hombre Mundo event. I'd like to tell you about one of the topics we will be discussing during this session. All of us who are connected here, certainly using a computer, a smartphone, a tablet, the internet, and certainly social media. We know that the use of social media can be problematic for teenagers around the world. So we're going to hear from some of us about our experiences. They will tell us how they use social media networks in their daily lives. We start with Valentina and Laura from Belgium.
Hello, I'm Laura.
And I'm Valentina.
We live in Brussels, Belgium, and we want to tell you about our experience with social media. Since we were 10 years old, our friends and schoolmates started to have a phone. We had discussions as a family, and our mum jokingly told us that we wouldn't have a phone until we were 18. I'm 15 and I've had my own phone for about 2 years.
We were practically obliged to have one. Sometimes we felt a bit excluded, and even our teachers asked that we have one for some class activities.
Our smartphone is very useful, for example, to exchange information about school, but from the beginning we decided with our parents to only use one social media app. And although sometimes we don't know about everything that happens on other apps, we are happy to not be overwhelmed by too much information, which is often useless.
Once in class, a teacher asked us about the time we spent on social media networks, and I was surprised to see that I was the only one spending less than an hour a day on my phone. Some people spent up to 6 hours on it. From the beginning, we talked with our parents about how we were going to use these apps, and now I'm happy that I can decide how much time I spend on social media. I can do other interesting things like reading or listening to music, for example, and I can focus on personal contacts. I feel freer. I don't have to be by my phone all the time.
Despite everything, we see that they are very useful not only for school, but for keeping in touch with our relatives. Some of my family live in Chile. Social media mean we can share and talk with them despite the distance, especially during the pandemic, and this has meant that we have been able to keep in touch with them and not feel isolated.
We made this choice with our parents, and we will always try to keep this balance. We're taking all that's positive from social networks, like having the chance to be connected all together, as we are now all over the world. See you soon!
Thank you very much for this great experience, which reminds us that there are different ways to live with social media. Now, let's hear an experience from Italy.
What's up, everyone? I'm Andrea and I'm 19. I'm a student, and in my spare time, I write for a newspaper called Teens, which is written by teenagers for teenagers. We interview some notable people and write articles on current affairs or topics that concern teenagers. A while ago, myself and a colleague of mine, Vincenzo, decided to interview Fernando Muraca, a writer who has written a book called Freely Veronica.
Generally, the experience that parents or teachers have when approaching teenagers is to tell them that they are making excessive use of social media. It is to receive grins and sometimes swear words. Since I have teenage children and I often teach in different situations, I asked myself, how can I interact with them? I came up with the idea of writing a book where the main character is a girl called Veronica. And to do that, obviously, I had to find consultants because it's difficult to understand and interpret the language and ways of behaving that teenagers use on social media if you don't have direct experience of it. Veronica is 14 years old, and due to a series of circumstances, she decides to disconnect from all social networks. For example, to do an experiment to see what happens in her life. The things that start happening are really crazy for her, and influence not only her own life, but also all the people around her. So the book is a novel about this adventure. It's divided into 30 chapters the 30 days of the experiment, the journey that Veronica went on. Freely, Veronica.
I like social media, but I realized that it took too much of my time. That is why I decided to spend 30 days without WhatsApp, Instagram, or Facebook. I thought a lot about what it meant to be in a relationship, listening to the other person in the moment when they are actually been talking has been important, and it has revolutionized my life and improved it the way I manage social media in general. Already, after the first week, you discover a lot of things. But if you want to do this experiment, even for less than a month, I recommend it.
Social media can be an issue, but could also be a great resource. For example, through social media, the Communion of Goods Challenge was launched. In Honduras, they learned about this challenge, took part in it, and had a great experience that we'd like to share with you in the video.
Hello, my name is Lázaro Eso Castillo Guerra. I am from Honduras and I am Gen 3, and today I'm going to tell you how I came up with the idea of making a piggy bank to put money in every day. Well, it all happened from 2020 to 2022 because we couldn't make the little figurines of baby Jesus because of COVID-19 and new illnesses that got in the way. We Gen 3 talked to Lupita, asking how we could help, and we came up with the conclusion that each one of us should have a piggy bank, either made of cardboard, a jar, a box, a milk can, or cornflakes box. Anything at all, and so we would put in everything we could every day. So we, my mom and I, came up with the idea of asking my family to contribute money to the piggy bank during Christmas and New Year, and that's what we did. For me, it's an honor to be a Gen 3 because we help our country and other countries such as Africa, because these countries are the most needy in the world, either because of disasters such as volcanoes, tornadoes, hurricanes, and everything. And Lupita with the Gen 3, all of us. Lupita is the guide and she's the one who has been teaching us. I also thank all the Gen 3 in the world for supporting us in everything. And as I said, I'm very proud to be with the Gen 3. I'm proud to learn about the good things and know about the bad things in order to not learn them.
Thank you for this great initiative. I encourage you all to participate massively in this activity, which will help many young people who are not lucky enough to have access to the internet. Now, we hand it over to Samira from the Democratic Republic of Congo, who will share her experience on social media.
I'm Samira from Lubumbashi in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm in my final year of scientific humanities. As you all know, living without internet is not easy, and the best way for us young people is to have a personal Android phone, which I don't have at this moment because for my parents, paying for this phone is not a priority. So, how do I get in researching for my different courses? In this case, I resort to using the phones of my older sisters and parents. Instead of worrying or feeling embarrassed because some of my friends and colleagues have them, I have always considered this reality as an opportunity for me to go against the current and concentrate on my studies. Because the most important thing is not the fact of having something of my own, but understanding what is good and useful to do now. And so, during my research on the web, I always try to focus on those same goals. I know that once I finish my studies, even as a minor, my parents will buy me my own phone before I start university. Thank you.
Ciao, sono Radhika, suonerò allegro.
As you can see, social media not only has its disadvantages, as people often think, it also has many advantages, which Lucio from Congo will tell us about.
Bonjour à tous.
I'm Lucio from Lubumbashi in DRC. I am a student and I am 16 years old. I would like to share with you my experience as a young person on social media. First of all, social media are a set of means of communication. They are used all over the world to be able to inform, to communicate, to have fun, and many other things. As a young person, I use them mainly as a source of information. Thanks to social networks, I can find out about events happening in other countries different from mine. Social networks for me are a place to listen, a place to exchange culture, because thanks to social networks, you can find out about news and current events. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, we discovered together that social media can become a meeting place where we can discuss, talk, share, and exchange without worrying about the language and the distance that separates us. That's how I use social media nowadays. But we should make good use of them.
Hi everybody, my name is Taimi. I'm half Italian and half Finnish, and I live in Brussels. As you already know, Saturday the 26th at 12 p.m. Greenwich time, We will all meet together to pray for peace. We can also take a photo and post it on our social medias with a sentence or a prayer of ours and tag it Teens for Unity. See you there!
Before we go our separate ways, let's challenge ourselves together. The challenge is to choose a time during the week to disconnect from social media and go and meet the people around us. The challenge is now launched. This brings us to the end of this session. Thank you very much for your attention. Thanks to all who shared their experiences, and see you next time.
We want to tell people about this new idea, this beautiful thing.
Teens is special because it has an international editorial office. Articles are produced all over the world.
Ramankutti, a volunteer of Shanti Ashram. There are many victims around the world of poverty, and the children are the most vulnerable.
2 years ago, I was invited with my classmates to a workshop called Make It Happen. Some friends and I decided to contact other young people with whom we share the commitment to live fraternity and who live in other countries like Brazil, Ukraine or Lebanon.
I personally am blessed and fortunate enough to be able to live comfortably in my own home.
This image of taking care is very beautiful because politics has this goal. It cannot have others. This is the goal of politics. We need well-prepared politicians.
Today, we have a special guest joining us from the United Nations Green Climate Fund. So let's take a moment to welcome him. We are so honored to have Mr. Eduardo Freitas, the Regional Manager for the Green Climate Fund from the UN, join our program today. If you have any message to share with us, we will...
Listen, I'd like to start by saying how much of a pleasure it was to listen to this.
We try to share our experiences of the quarantine and bring a fraternal message of peace to our city and the world.